Oops, here we go. Okay, hi, welcome friends. Welcome back to another Katasa Healing Talk. Hi, Laura and Laura. Hi, guys. And of course, Kay. Hi, Kay.
Hi.
And today we continue our talk about the ancient teachings that have been lost to the masses and are now being brought back. And Kay writes about in her latest book about these teachings called The Weavings, Dawn of a New World. And you can find out more about the book. There are links below in the description. And you can even grab the first 3 chapters, I believe, and one of those links gets you to 3 chapters. And today we're going to talk about that we are connected to all existence. The whole theme is to know and feel that we are connected to all existence. We are never isolated or separated. Our connectedness is sacred. So, probably a bit of an alien concept to the modern human, where we are being taught that we are isolated and alone. So, let's dive into that. Kay, you want to get us started? Have fun. Thanks again for joining.
Well, our connectedness, that is one of the main concepts of Katasi, one of the foundational ideas of who we are, what we are as a species. How do we fit in to this world, on this planet, into the whole universe? And what is all this, and what does it mean? And in the ancient teachings, we're taught that we are very, very, very connected, completely connected to everything. And I mean everything, everything. There's so much that can be said about this particular subject, this aspect. When we're talking about things like connectedness, this is not an intellectual argument. It's not an intellectual statement or a problem or a question to solve. It has nothing to do with your intellect, but it has everything to do with your feeling. The feeling. And even your physical senses, even though they're physical, mainly what they're doing is telling you about physical things around you, but they go deeper than that. They blend into the spiritual senses that take that information a little farther, a little deeper. And so I was taught to utilize the physical senses as a road, as the route to discovering your first spirit senses. That's the way it was presented to me. And it was in the beginning of when I was learning the Katasi ways with Damano and Chia Hedika. And they had me focus on one sense at a time, like the feeling of touch, to really try to accentuate the feeling. Just go around and touch everything. Close your eyes if you have to, and just touch it. And what does it feel like? What does it tell you about itself? And so I was doing this one sense at a time, all over town, in school, at home, on the bus, things like that. And as you're doing this, you're not only just waking up your physical senses a lot more than where they had been, because in our culture, we've been taught to diminish our physical senses. We don't know that. We don't have anything around us that gives us a clue that has been happening to us. But we that's part of our programming. Diminish the physical senses. Don't get distracted by them. Don't put too much attention on them, or importance into those physical senses. And the reason they do that is because they're kind of a doorway into those spiritual senses. So we have this sense of touch that's physical, but we have a sense of touch in our spirit senses. And we're engaging these spirit senses in our sleep. We don't even know it. We're dreaming and we think we're touching things, and it feels like we're touching, feels like it's coming through your physical body and the physical sensors, but it's not. That's what our imagination is on this verge of the spirit senses from the physical, on the verge of how we perceive things in our dreams when we're asleep. So we have spirit touch, spirit sight, spirit smell, spirit taste, spirit hearing. And this is, it's kind of like the way we perceive it when we're dreaming is the kind of inner TV screen where all this information is being given to us like a spiritual headset on your ears and your eyes, and uh, but it's perceiving something that is beyond the physical. What is it about this thing I'm rubbing here? uh, the microphone stand. It's got a lot of metal and some plastic and some twisty things uh, and things that move. What does all that feel like? And if you close your eyes, you can often reach reach deeper into that spiritual aspect of those senses and pick up more information about what's in here, what's in the metal, and what's on the metal. What's making up this metal rod here? It's got paint, and as I'm touching it, I'm beginning to pick up information from the other spirit senses. I got my eyes closed, so some visuals come in, and I can tell there's paint on here. And with the physical sense, I can feel the paint itself. I can feel the chemicals of that paint. If I was really, really um, knowledgeable and familiar with paint and all of its chemicals and what gives it its color and qualities and all that, uh, I'd be able to tell you just with my spirit senses what's in that paint, what's there, what's the energy of it. I'd be able to see with the spirit eyes. I'd be able to see what kind of energy is in the paint and the metal underneath. What kind of metal is that? Which metal is that? Which mix of metals is that? And all that information is there, right? Right? It's it's out here, it's in here, it's pervasive. Memory isn't something in your brain cells. Memory and cognition and consciousness is is in this space. It's it's in us. It makes up who we are. And we're not just thinking in our brain. We're using all of this space, this energy to do our thinking, to find information, to find what is that information that's in here? What's that smell? I can get this spiritual smell. I didn't smell it with my nose, with my physical nose, but it's I can smell the metal and I can smell the paint, and the paint is really kind of stinky. I'm really glad it's very dried and has had a chance to air out well because it's really it has a putridness of lots of mixed chemicals in it. Uh, But there's other things that we can investigate. You know, you can go out in your garden and investigate your plants and your flowers, and you could touch the petals of the flower and try to feel into it and feel that it's not like this metal. It's it's just really, really different. Its physical characteristics are certainly different, but there's an unseen difference. It's the things that you would pick up with your spirit senses are these all these unseen parts of things that we can't notice with our bare physical senses. The energetics. One thing I notice about this big chunk, this rod of metal and wires, uh, there's energy there. There's an energy flow, the type of energy flow that happens in metals and in rocks and other inanimate objects. But when we're feeling the rose, uh, and that rose petal, there's aliveness there. You can feel the aliveness in the petal itself. You can feel it coming out into the field, its own field around its body. And you can feel that that's what you're feeling is what makes up that plant, that flower. You could feel the electricity. You could feel the sunlight. You could feel the water. You could smell the water. You could smell the chemicals in the petal and in the plants. And especially in the flower, because it's trying to attract things to it, like bees and stuff, to spread that pollen around. You can smell, you could sense, you could feel with your heart, even if you let yourself kind of sensitize the energy of your heart, your chakra there. You can feel into that rose. You could feel its spirit. You could smell those sweet smells, see the beauty with the eyes that you see more colors and kinds of colors and color and energy interactions in this field and in the petals that you could ever see with your bare eyes. These things are describing to us, validating to us that we are energetically connected to everything. The ancients say everything in the universe, and they mean that, like every atom, every subatomic particle, every star, every galaxy, every, what we think of as blank space, void. We're connected to everything, and everything is alive and conscious and thinking and feeling and collecting information and giving information, and is full, is this brimming and active with unconditional love, unconditional acceptance that goes along with that unconditional love. They're built out of it like everything is built out of it in the universe. And you can feel that with your spirit senses. You could feel it with your heart. You can't rationalize it with your mind. You can't give your mind enough information without it just being put in a very linear form and missing all the good stuff, being kind of empty. You could memorize those words and those sentences, but you won't understand it. The only way you're going to understand it is if you feel it. You have to feel it. That's why the Etika started me out with the physical senses and physical feeling and seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting. And when I was doing the tasting, we were on these different senses for months. And I was just to pay attention wherever I go. And I used the bus a lot. I had no car. Lived on the campus. And so the bus stopped literally a couple of feet out my door. That was the bus stop. So, uh, as a student, we had free bus passes. You could just hop on the bus and go anywhere and transfer to another bus, and you just get all over the place. So I got on the bus, and it was summer, and it was really, really hot. And I was in my smelling phase. And I regretted it the minute the doors closed on the bus, because you can't open the windows. So on that one of those kind of buses that you can't open the windows. And it was crowded, it was overcrowded. And I had to stand up, and it was standing room only, and there's everybody kind of packed in like sardines, and a lot of students. And that particular bus stop is not too far away from the athletic activities on the campus. And so there was a lot of students that had been exercising or playing some sports or something like that, and with no chance of any showers, and they're on the bus, and whew. And of course there's other people This was in Santa Cruz, California. So it's a beach town. It's a beach campus. And we were up the hill in the redwood forests above the beaches and the ocean. And it was a beautiful, beautiful place. So there would be people who would have been out in the sun, maybe surfing or doing whatever, so hiking around through the redwoods. But they were smelly. They were they were really sweaty and kind of smelling like, maybe they hadn't taken a shower for a couple of days or they hadn't changed their clothes or something. It was in these practices of paying attention to the senses, your senses become heightened, or more accurately, they're turned on to normal. We dimmed them way down. Now they're turned up to normal, and then they can be heightened even more. I think mine had been getting into the heightened stage, and I just found it really uncomfortable to breathe. And I couldn't wait for the bus to get to its destination. It was one of the unpleasant parts of that kind of training, but it has its benefits in the smelling that I couldn't avoid. Like the teachers say, take advantage of it. There's things you can learn. It might be something you don't like, or it's repulsive, or like this was really stinky and you don't want to inhale. You don't want to inhale through your nose. So they say, go ahead and do it anyway and see what you see. Find what you find. Smell what you smell and hear what you hear and get into it. What's beyond the physical matter veil? What are the energetics there? And I could feel this connectedness. That was the first thing that really popped up, was how deeply, deeply, intimately, energetically, we are all so connected. And I couldn't help thinking about it in real physical terms. Some of these young guys were, brawny, healthy, good looking, was really hot. So they didn't, have a whole lot of clothes on, shorts, maybe not a shirt, and perceiving, seeing and feeling that connectedness. I could smell the connectedness and connecting that with that image of being that close, that physically intimate, was with all the stink. It was it just became really disturbing in so many different ways, and I had to laugh at myself for that, but I couldn't make that stop. I could smell what they had eaten and been eating, the coffee coming out of their pores, the cigarette tobacco coming out of their pores, and it was more than just the physicalness of it, but there was a whole energetic to that, and an energetic component that was part of the physicalness, like the physical activity that they had just been doing, working out in the gyms, or playing some kind of athletic games, or being on the beach and doing all that kind of stuff. And I can't think of any kind of a metaphor or a name or anything about what that smelled, the connectedness smelt like, but it was extremely pleasant. I felt like I was seeing colors. Sometimes I did, and other times it was more the feeling of it, and they were pristine. They were gentle and pristine and healthy. So in Katasi, we find out about our connectedness. First, it's something that you hear, and it's all intellectual, and it sounds interesting, and you wonder how that's possible. And if you're physical, physics minded kind of a person, you're kind of wondering about how does that work? What, what kind of mathematics and physics does that correlate to? And with Katasi, we were looking at both the space-time matter physical physics that we teach in schools, and that's what we learn with physics. But we're also learning about the physics, so at least some of the physics, of what goes on outside of time and space. When we can move out of the borders of the realm of space-time, space-time. And what happens there is there's no time. Time's not ticking. There is no time. There is no space. But we can perceive it spiritually. Energetically, we can perceive it with our spirit senses. It's not an intellectual thing. It is something that is felt. And in the feeling experience, you come to understand what it means, what it is. You might not be able to put any words to it, and that's real common because our modern words just don't go there. We don't have modern words to describe any of that. But those feelings that go way past the senses, they're not all kind of, I don't even have the right word for that. The physical senses and the spirit senses that mirror the physical senses that are just on the other side of that veil into the spiritual world from the physical senses. That's how these things are working. They're kind of presenting themselves in the language of your physical senses. But the things that are deeper beyond that describe that connectedness, and they describe the non-linearness of these other realms. There's no time, there's no space. We have a hard time conceiving that. When you try to do that with your mind, you just don't have any mental tools to make any sense out of it. But when you are feeling it, You're feeling it. You can understand it because the information to understand it is in the feeling, and you feel it. You take that on, you take it in, you absorb it. It becomes part of you. We understand that we are connected to everything. Everything, everywhere, way out to the ends of the universe, if there is such a thing. There's no time, there's no space, but we're connected. How does that work? The connection is happening constantly. And I'm trying to find the right words. It's we're always we're like touching. We're like touching whatever it is that we're trying to communicate with on the other side of the universe. And that information is just going there instantly. It's literally instantaneously. If you can imagine that, our connections are outside of time and space. So it's as though we are standing next to anything and everything. And when we want to interact with them, when we want to share information, give information, receive it, feel it, understand it, share love and beauty and happiness and all those good, beautiful things. And the daily news, everything that's happening to you all day long, it doesn't just stay here on this planet or inside you. You're not the only one who knows about what happened to you today. Everything in the universe knows. That information was given to everything instantaneously outside of time and space. And there's a feeling to outside of time and space. There are many, many realms, different kinds of realms that don't have space and time the way we do. They're outside of our time and space. And some don't have any at all, like what scientists would call subspace. And the more you are studying with the Katasi ways of thinking, that means to know yourself, know your own song, know who you are and what you are. And you could do things like the song ceremony, which is a kind of journey. It is extending your awareness into this part of the universe, deeper parts of the universe, through time and space. You can go backwards in times, forward in times, or just in this particular time and experience what's there, who's there, what kind of aliveness is there, what kind of intelligence does it have, what kind of information does it have. Does its flavor of the love that it can give you the same as the flavor anywhere else? Or does it have a little perfume of its own beingness left on that love as it's showering you with the love? This world is endless, and the knowledge that is is in this world that we can access is endless. And the understanding of what's out there and how does it work, both in our physical world and outside of it. We learn how to go to any and all of these different places or to these different beings and interact and communicate, learn. They all learn from us, and we learn from them, and we share love, we share the beauty, we share healing, we share this connectedness. The connectedness can never be severed. It's always there, even if you're not paying attention to it and never knew it existed. It's still there. And it is feeding you all kinds of knowledge and information and energies and love and happiness and all kinds of new things, new stuff that you would never have guessed before. You wouldn't have had a clue. But the universe teaches you. Your own song teaches your current consciousness any and all of this stuff. And so that's why our connectedness to everything is so incredibly sacred. So incredibly sacred. We've been lied to so much and so heavily and so deeply for so very, 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 very long. We've been lied to about all these things, about our own physical bodies and our senses and our mind and our consciousness and our capabilities and what our physical senses can do and what our physical body can do. We've been lied to about everything. And we believed it. We didn't know any different. Sounded interesting and reasonable. So we believed it. And we tried living out that lie, all those lies. We've been trying to live them as though they were real, and they're not. The realness is we're not separated. We're not isolated. Nobody could ever, ever be isolated. You cannot sever those connections. And as we are studying these ancient teachings, we learn how to perceive these connections, perceive that all these things were lies that we were told about who and what we are and what we're capable of, and that we are so connected and there's so much beauty and love in the world. So much. It's the basis of everything. It's the beginnings of who and what we are as a universe and everything in that universe. And look at the lies we've been told about whatever we could think about, whatever we do, whatever we want. Lies, lies, lies. So that's why we say question. Question everything. And when we say everything, we do mean everything, everything, everything. And then the answers you get back, question that. The only way to know the real truth about anything is to experience it. And with the ancient teachings, we learn how to experience from the inside out, full feeling, experiencing physical experience, spiritual experience, emotional, mental. If you experience it, you can understand it. If you feel it, you can understand it. And so that's why feeling and experiencing is the heart. And that's what we use to teach with. And it never stops. Even though you may not have any new classes after so many years or whatever, but you never stop learning if you let your attention follow these teachings and follow the experiences and you ask questions. Ask questions. And the things that you've been living with in your normal life, question it. Question everything. Question, because it's probably not true. Sometimes there might be a little inkling of some kind of truth in there somewhere. But if you question it and you search with your feelings and you experience these things, you'll know the truth. Nobody can hide it from you. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody could take any of this knowledge that you have earned this way away, no matter what they do to you. Even if you die, you're taking it with you. It becomes part of the memories of your song. And when you study your song, you know that you got memories from lifetime after lifetime after lifetime that goes on for eons. And there's so much knowledge in there and so many adventures and so many places and connections. And it's beautiful. So I would like to hear what you ladies and gent have to say about this subject.
I'll go first if someone lets me here. Someone wants to say hi to everybody. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I just got a pep talk. I I feel excited. I think about all the years that I've been studying Katasi, and I first read Kay's books in 2006. And I started to do some of the practices even then. I would put headphones on so I couldn't hear anything, but I could see stuff. And I'd go outside and I'd start paying attention to the plants and the trees. And I started to see auras and I started to see orbs. There's orbs out there too. um, but started to see the connectedness. Um, and I would even do stuff where I'd really smell into it. I just started doing the stuff that a lot of the stuff that Hedekas had you do. And just slowly, but with my attention, I started to perceive more things. And I remember one time I was talking to my sister on the phone, and it was like a Saturday morning. And that particular morning, I knew she was doing something in the kitchen, but then all of a sudden I could smell what she was cooking. She was cooking peppers and onion, and I could smell it as if my nose was right over top of it. It was like, oh, this is so amazing. And then I got so I could check on family members and stuff just by feeling for them and breathing in. It's like I could tell whatever stress they are under, or it was just amazing how that connectedness just all of a sudden started to be, I started to be aware of it. And then it wasn't until I started doing the actual teachings with you that it even magnified even more. And weaving, you know, the web of life, those energy lines that's connecting to everything. We are so connected, and that even motivates me more to work on healing myself and my perception, to get outside of that box that keeps us so small and so little. Because as I heal myself, it's helping all of humanity because we're all connected. And now that I know that, it's like it's 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 a responsibility. And I need to be responsible where I'm putting my attention and the pebbles that I throw into my awareness. And I being able to feel that unconditional love that connects us all, and knowing that at one point I chose the same way everybody else, forget it all. And then I would say, if you're watching this video, this healing talk, there's a part of you that was a conscious weaver at some point or another. And when I started to learn about the weavings, there was just a part of me that just remembered, this is something that I have done before, and this is something that's so important. And I remember in the book where Demano had said at one point, he'd said, we're like spiders weaving. We're weaving our experience, and we are only, with the teachings, we're consciously weaving. We're not just leaving it up to those lies and blindly just having these experiences that make us feel so separate and cut off. So if you're watching this video, you're most likely a weaver too. And it's a call, a call to step up, read the book, maybe consider doing the Call Your Song, because there's a reason you're listening to this, experiencing it. Thank you, Kay. And there is so much beauty, so much creativity and excitement and love, and there's just so much available to us that we aren't aware of until you start opening up and feeling that connectedness, because it's already there. It's not something you have to get outside yourself. It's something that's within, and you're connected to it all. I can see it, I can feel it, and it's so beautiful. You start to feel your aliveness. I think that's coming out of the box. I think that's one of the most amazing things, is you start to feel that aliveness that's connected to everything. It's so beautiful. I want everybody to be able to feel it. Laura, have you had some of the same experiences?
Sorry, had trouble getting myself off mute. Oh yeah. I I came from being a highly connected feeling child, into a fearful of connection adult. Like it was what they would have, you know, new thought, would have called me highly empathic, and that was one of the um, fears of connecting to everybody, is being overwhelmed. Having this overwhelming, being overwhelmed by other people's emotions and experiences, and if they were afraid, writing that fear with them. And so prior to Katasi, I was scrambling to learn any way to stop this connection, to stop being connected, to stop feeling the connection. And zipper up in white light, spread it all over me, protect myself from everybody around me so I'm not sensing and not feeling themselves. And so not only was I taking, muggling, heading into this world where being, closing off my senses from the connection, I was, double downing on it by trying to find practices that silenced it more. And, you know, and then coming into Katasi where it's like, I so wish that, you know, these ancient teachings, I shouldn't say I so wish because they are being taught because we are teaching it. I'm excited. I'm changing my language right now. I'm excited that these ancient teachings are being shared. You know, and my passion is more parents will learn it for themselves to help small kids like me. You know, it was like I going through teaching these parents how to send negative thought forms and negative energies just through Mother Earth's door. So not only they slept better, but their little ones slept better. It's the same thing. You know, this connection to everything is our power. You know, and cutting our children off from this power is so harmful. You know, it's so harmful to us. Instead of teaching them the beauty that's in it, you know, and through Katasi, we learn how to navigate those energies. So I had to learn, just like in class, good touches and bad touches. You know, it's like how to improve my energy. So the energies that I didn't want never came past. You know, it's just like we're all connected, but like I love my family, but they love in a form of worry. You know, that's their love language is to worry about you and tell you how they're concerned about you and all this stuff. And it always felt like someone was putting a wet fur coat on me. You know, let's take some oil, soak it in wet, and throw it over you. And that's how worry felt coming towards me, and I didn't want it anymore, and so I'd be disconnected. But what you learn through these ancient practices, through the call of your song, and I would even suggest to every parent, you know, take call of your song and then at least make it through level 1 of the apprenticeship and just see how strong you are. You know, it's just like we learn to not absorb, and that's what empathing is. You know, you're absorbing disorder and diseases from people. We learn to connect, filter, you know, open ourselves to the beauty and the love and the unconditional love. And that's what I do now. It was just like when my dad starts worrying about me, it's like my auric fields, you know, it's just like what I sense and what Kay was talking about is I can I can smell past the stink. You know, I can sense past the worry now and leave it. Leave it right there and there or clear it, you know, clear the worry away. And so what's coming through my connections is how much my dad loves me. You know, and how much he appreciates me, you know, and then understanding, you know, because it's in this beautiful way of we now see song to song, I understand that his worry, you know, is his love language, you know, and that he's trying to express to me his appreciation for me. And not all that ugly stuff that was like wearing the wet fur coat that was actually literally making me sick. I mean, my pancreas was being damaged, you know, storing everybody's disease and disorders, and that was coming through. It's just like we need to, we're, you know, out there in society, we do a couple of things. We either glorify being highly empathic or we run in fear of it, you know, and instead of, you know, addressing neither of those things is, you know, let's heal it. Let's stop those habits, you know, because connection, and I can say, you know, I love that I'm on the other side of this. You know, the fear of connecting is way gone. You know, it's just like I'm just the opposite. It's just like I desire it. You know, it was like I try to slow all the noise down so I can just feel that deliciousness that comes off of people that you wouldn't think is there. You know, some of the most toxic people out there have like this like yummy gooey insides that's still emoting, you know, and you learn that they're just in this, you know, you learn more of the dance they're in and what their experiences that they're doing. And it's all because of these studies. I mean, these ancient teachings that I'm excited that it, you know, is out there and available in case, Kay's helped us all through, and and anybody can take it themselves, is to learn the difference between discontinuing the empathic behaviors and being fully connected to the love and the information that's available, that is so available, and we have so much access to. Thanks, Kay.
Well said, ladies. And our resident gent, you have anything to say?
Yes, beautiful. Love this. And I'm just in awe at the promise and the potential that us waking up more and more to our connections hold. Because realizing the gifts that it offers, that it provides, of knowing, getting to know ourselves more and more, but at the same time, getting to know other and everything else, and realizing that we're so much more alike than we are different, and how that contributes to more growing and more beauty and more learning and more love and more waking up. And we can end the manipulation that pits us against each other. And I think it's not too far into the future, which is really, really exciting. I also wanted to mention Sacred Link, which is the book in which Kay writes about her training of the senses. Beautiful book. You can find it on Amazon along with the briefings that we talked earlier. And since we're going to talk more about spirit senses next week, if you want to pick up Sacred Link and get started on that, because we're going to be talking a lot more about it. All right. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Any other thoughts?
We are we are so much more than what we have been led to believe. With all those lies that our cultures have been teaching us for so many generations, we've come to think very, very little of ourselves and humanity. And we are so much more. We're so much more than that. We are incredibly powerful and knowledgeable. And we have abilities inside us that we don't have a clue about. For instance, healing abilities. The ancients are really big on lots of teaching about healing abilities and how to do it, what it means, what you have to learn before you can learn how to do the healing, and then what do you do with it, and what kind of things can you help others with. This is another big pointing finger at the connectedness. Now, how very, very, very much we are connected. If we weren't connected, we wouldn't be able to do this. We learned how to do long distance energetic healing, how to see into the other's system, whether it's a plant or a person or a pet or a garden, a waterway, the soil, the atmosphere, anything. And we learn how to manipulate our consciousness and awareness and focus it so that we go into those systems of the other and then the universe and the spirits, our own spirits, their spirit helpers, their body parts, they all inform you what's wrong, how to do it. And it doesn't matter if you're close in the same room, if you're on the other side of the planet, or you're on the moon, or on the other side of the universe. It all works through this connectedness, this instantaneous interaction, communication. And the healing techniques are truly a whole interaction. And we learn more and more about our spirit senses and the spirit senses that mimic the seeing and the touching, and we utilize those. This is one of the things that we do, techniques that are very practical, very usable, on how to help ourselves and others. And it happens instantaneously. It's quite beautiful. And it's a testimony to the nature of love in the universe and the connectedness and the beauty of it. Because the more you utilize these teachings to help yourself, to help others, the more you learn, and the more you are being gifted back with knowledge, love, energy, information, expanded consciousness. And these things that we have the power to do, we have the power, everybody, every human has the power to do these things. The more you do it, the better you get, the more you learn. It just keeps growing. And it's like you're standing on the horizon, brand new. And there's this whole other world over the horizon that just spreads out in front of you, never knew existed before. And there it is. And that's your new playground that you can go and do whatever you want to learn and experience and consciously connect with. And it never ends. Never ends. Even if you die, you're taking all of that information, that knowledge, those talents and gifts that you earned, you're taking that with you. And it helps you in whatever you're going to do next, and next, and next, and next. And it's also a gift to all of humanity. Whatever it is you learn and do, it becomes part of the conscious awareness of all humans. And this is how we're going to wake up. This is how we're going to get out of the box we buried ourselves in that Laura was talking about. This nasty old box that culture shoved us in. So that's my 2 cents.
And it's a brand new world.
That's the world we're moving into. The ancients say, this is the world we are making. This is the world we are creating with our thoughts and our feelings and our hopes and dreams. And these are the things we're going to be able to do, learn openly, learn from birth. Imagine learning these things about who you are, what your song is, what the spirit senses are, and how to use them. And the universe and your connectedness, the incredible connectedness and the love and the beauty of it all. Imagine learning that from birth and living it, learning how to live it from birth, not how to drown it out, hide it from yourself. We've been doing that way too long. Millennia, way too long. So it's time for this new world, and we're making it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Laura's. Thank you, Kay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Laura and Helmut.
Thanks for joining us live. Beautiful to have you here. Thanks for watching it later. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share. And we see you next week, hopefully.
See you next time.
Thank you. Love
Love
you.
you all so much. Bye bye. Have a beautiful day.
And stay connected.
Consciously aware of your connectedness and feel it. Just feel it. Reach out and feel it. You can do that. You don't have to have special training. You just reach out and feel the connectedness, and it's just, it is beyond delicious and empowering.
Thank you.
Bye bye.